going on, everybody? So I've been in the weeds working on the Leaving the Matrix services lately, and I wanted to do a quick demo of Nova for you, explain what she is, and then show you how you can actually leverage her yourself using the members area that I put together for Leaving the Matrix, and show you how this will change your investing methodologies and make it easier for you to research companies for the rest of your life, and hopefully give you some opportunities that you wouldn't have spotted otherwise, and reduce your risk and make investing a safer, easier venture for you. So yeah, just give you a quick overview. Nova is an AI-curated platform that helps me find and spot opportunities in the market based on 13 layers of confluence that I built into her systems to scan the market and look for the things that I believe matter most when investing. And those things consist of fundamentals, track record, fund quality, valuation, support, insider buying, Congress buying, billionaires buying, options flow, momentum, technicals, the macro regime, and lastly, catalyst. Now, each of these categories is weighted accordingly to what I've been having success with for several years now, what I use to spot opportunities for my members. So, for example, here, smart money gives it quite a boost, right? So if you found a stock like, say, for example, EXE, wrong ticker, sorry, EXE, and you see right here, the CEO was buying $250,000 that day, an executive bought another $200,000 that day. The very next day, another executive bought $200,000, and over here, just above that same price, we had a buy for $100,000, and quite a few billionaires added to their positions. And then recently, like literally within 2 days of today, 2 days ago, we had another $200,000 buy. So you can see smart money, the rich and powerful that control the markets, in other words, are clearly buying and loading this stock at these levels. Now, obviously, there's more to it than that. There's lots of data here that we could go through, but for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to try to explain to you what all of this means, because that's not the purpose of this video. I just want to show you how she helps me and how she can help you. But yeah, basically she's finding opportunities, which I agree this makes a lot of sense because it's in the energy sector, and we have a huge demand surplus in energy right now and not enough supply, so it makes sense to see expansion in this sector soon. Anyways, I'll have her say hi to you guys real quick, and then we'll kind of walk through the members area and what you guys can gain from value. This is the desktop version of Nova with a full AI assistant built in. This is what I use to try and spot opportunities and find and assist me with my business, and it's been an extremely powerful and lucrative tool for me, but I actually wanted to bring the value to my members, and I've created a members area that exposes some of her functionality for all of you. So let's hop into it. In Nova, we have there's a lot of features here, but today we're just going to touch on the screener. So the way this works is I have all these different presets that I've built in that are built on top of my main opportunity venues, I guess you call them, in the market, things that I think stand out as unique opportunities, and then she scans on those and finds the best stocks based on that thesis in that sector. So you could change from the S&P 500 to small caps, whatever you want here. You can actually target by sector, tech, financials, healthcare, energy, industrials, any of that stuff, right? And to know how to know what sector to look in, I would encourage you to check out leavingthematrix.io. I have plenty of services that will help you know how to be in front of rotation. There's also tools in the members area as well as in Nova to help you spot where rotation is happening. But anyways, moving back to the screener. So look, for example, here the Nova conviction scan, I'll read this to you. Flagship scan, top names by universal Nova score, meaning the 13 layers of confluence that I've built into her brain, and finds the best content or best stocks in the market based on that context, no lens filter applied. So by default, this searches the S&P 500 and 400, which is large cap and mid cap names, and the top basically 900 companies in the United States, and then picking the best options in the universe that meet the criteria of her scoring layers and displays them in front of you. So rather than having to go out and try and scavenge the market for the best discounted stocks with quality, strong fundamentals where insiders are accumulating, she brings them right to you. So you can see right here, the last scan I did, Uber came up at the top. We could do another scan, but for the purposes of time of this video, I don't want to do it. But so what you would actually want to look for here is something that scored a 70 or higher. So in this case, we didn't actually get anything like that. But so there's the 5 layers of her scores, right? And buying is where smart money is accumulating heavily, right? So that's where you know, like, there's a lot of very, very rich people accumulating the stock at that price. So if you find something that's just got a 70, there's a good chance that that's what's going on, and you can confirm that by simply coming to the lookup screen and seeing where they're buying. So you can see here with Uber very clearly, lots of buying here, not a huge amount there. We got somebody that has 15% of their portfolio added there, 5 more buys here, Bill Ackman again, and then here we've got $1.6 million from the CFO. So you have Congress, which is the blue, you have billionaires, which is the purple, and you have insiders of the company all buying at the same price. And you just so happen to be 25 to 30% off the highs. Makes a lot of sense, right? Uber's a great company. I'm not going to dive into the specifics of Uber. This is really just to show you how this kind of works. But so the idea is that this screener will help you find stocks that haven't run yet, that are likely to, that haven't been rotated into yet, and money is starting to rotate into them, because I believe that is the best way to invest and reduce your risk over the long term. This is not meant to be a day trading tool. This is meant to be a long-term wealth compounding tool that can help you get an edge on the market, and it very much does in my case and in my experience. This week alone, she brought me 2 stocks that are already up 100%, which is crazy. You can't expect that all the time, but it did happen, and I can show those later in the video. And I'll give you one for free that she actually brought to me, and you can choose to do with that what you want. None of what I say is financial advice. Full disclaimer. All right, so anyway, so in the members area, you will have access to several of these tools. So let's hop over to what you guys actually have in the members area. So here's a logged in member on leavethematrix.io, and by default, you will come in and you will land on the macro screen. This gives you a very quick overview of the markets, shows you the poly markets, shows you the volatility dashboard. And if this stuff is foreign to you, that's okay. I would, again, largely encourage you to come be a part of my education. I teach people how to read all this data and how to use it to change their financial picture and better their families' lives. And I have a huge community of people that will support and verify that that is the case in here. And yeah, I would love for any of you to reach out to any of them directly. You don't have to trust my word for it, take my word for it. You can talk to them and see what they think. But I've been doing this for a while now, and it's been really cool to help people and see their lives change. So anyways, so on top of the macro area, you have the smart money area. So now in here you can see what insiders, Congress, billionaires, trailblazers, all of them are buying, what the options flow is telling you. So today, for example, we could come to insiders, we could go to value, and you could see selling here. Let's filter by buys, right? Okay, so here's an example here. SoFi, $250,000 from the CEO was invested May 10th, so yesterday, right? Yesterday was Sunday, so it was really Friday that came in. But so that was recorded yesterday, so the CEO of SoFi just bought $250,000 worth of stock. Now, does that mean anything in itself? Not necessarily, but then you take a look at SoFi here and you can actually see all-time highs are up here at $32, and we are currently down 50% on that name. Stock is oversold, and the fundamentals on SoFi are extremely powerful, and you're like, how could you possibly know that? Well, here in the members area, you can actually go look up SoFi, right, and see for yourself. So this process will take a second. If you're the first person in the members area that day to hit the stock, it'll take 10 to 15 seconds, because behind the scenes, Nova is actually going out and pulling all of this information for you, which really didn't take that long. And there you go. You have her score in the top right. She's giving it a 63. You can see it's weak from technicals and momentum, so this would actually score a lot better if technicals and momentum were to turn around, which makes sense. The stock's in a downtrend, but you can very clearly see once we got down here, buys, and then they're not small buys either. That's $1 million. It's 100,000, 100,000, 500,000. 250,000, 250,000. These are all executives and insiders in the company using their own money to invest in their own company. Now, why do you think they do that? Who has more knowledge of what's going on with that company than them? Not you, not me. They do. So this tool is meant to follow the smart money. Okay, that is the whole point of it. So you can see here, she recommended SoFi. We can look it up and we can see everything we want to see about it. You can see it's undervalued. Analysts have it 31% higher by the end of the year. You're getting it at a discount of about 50% to its trailing PE, and year-over-year returns in all cases except for the 5-year are beating the stock market. It's regular 10 to 12%. PEG ratio 1.06, free cash flow 3.5%, so they're cash flowing, means that they can pay their debt off if they need to. The company looks great. Sure, there could be some that score better. I'll show you one that looks really good here in a minute just for the heck of it. But yeah, so that's kind of the workflow is basically you can come into these different tools. So like, for example, the way that I use her is I come in here, check the rotation heat map, I look for the sectors that are actually doing bad, and then I try to go find the highest NOVA scoring asset in that sector. So I'm going to give you a free one here. So the way that I use this tool, and you could use this too, you come to markets, you see, okay, energy is doing pretty bad. I like energy because you know what's going on with AI, you know what's going on with technology, then you understand the demand for energy has never been higher, and we can see that it's clearly getting slammed right now. It's in a pullback right now. Typical market goes like this, right? Okay, so it's in the down phase right now. So now while it's down, you go and you find the stuff that's on sale, okay, and that's where you invest your money. So I'm saying, okay, I like energy. So then I can come over to the screener, and I can go to Nova Conviction, which is going to give me the highest scoring stocks in that category based on Nova's 13 fundamental scoring principles. And then I'm going to go to the universe, and you can change this if you want. We'll just leave it to the preset, which is large cap and mid caps in this case, and it tells you all this if you read it. And then we're going to go to energy. And there you go, instantly, because again, she's already done all the work. There's a job that runs in the morning so that you guys don't have to wait on this, otherwise it would take a very, very long time. That job takes about 50 minutes to run. So all these stocks are curated and scored for you every day while you're sleeping. So you can come in here and you can see EXE, and we can click on that and explore more about it. So again, this is going to take a second because I haven't hit this stock yet today, and it's pulling in all this research for you. But once this loads, what you're going to find is that she found you a stock in the energy sector that's getting accumulated heavily. And I think I might have already shown this in this video, but here you go. So the score is reduced a little bit since I pulled it up, so who knows why? Probably because of momentum. I mean, I'd have to actually do the math to sit here and figure out that slight change in score. I think it was like a 70 on the previous screen, or this is just cash from earlier in the day. That's possible too. There is a slight lag in the data, but the discrepancy between the lookup screen and the list screen is like within a point, so it's not a huge deal. The same principle remains true, and that I'll tighten that up over time. But you can see here, like I was saying earlier, boom, 1 buy, 2 buy, that's $500,000 right there from insiders of the company. There's another $100,000, there's another $215,000, there's another $200,000. So, you know, from August of 25 to today, stock's pretty much flat, but every time the price gets down here and is at the 200 weekly, it seems to be getting accumulated very heavily by the people that are inside the company. Something to be aware of, right? Should you invest solely on that? Of course not. Fundamentals, it's saying very cheap, forward P is 11, which its historical is 12, so it is discounted compared to what it normally trades at right now. Energy cyclical, so you can see what it's scoring on valuation, all these different layers, right? I'm not going to go through this. I'm trying to keep this video quick, but basically the idea is here is she can find opportunities for you in any given space, and you can tailor that to what you're looking for. So say you didn't want to look for energy. Let's say you just wanted to find something where a lot of people that work inside the company are buying. You could use the smart money cluster screener here. Excuse me, sorry. And by default, that's set to the S&P 500 and mid caps, and we have it on all sectors. So she went out and she found the highest scoring, again based on those 13 layers of confluence in the market for that category. So this is going to have a lot of smart money accumulation when I click on it, right? So we come into WAT. Sorry guys, I've had strep throat recently, so I'm coming off that. I've been working on this religiously, and I really think that this is a tool that you can leverage to change your life if you really lean into it. So here you go again, and she's going to show you. So smart money clusters went off because we had Stephen Cohen ad. He more than doubled his position. He went up 143% on his investment there. He's a billionaire. The direct buy from an insider here that he put $300,000 of his own money into the stock at $300 a share, and then we had another one for $150,000 since. So that was down here underneath the 200 weekly moving average, and as you can see, just a short period later, the stock is up at $350. So these guys that were buying heavily have already got a return on their money. I mean, even this guy that bought here is up 10%, but the guy at the bottom here is up almost 25% in just 2 months on his investment. People wait years for that kind of return in the stock market. I'm not saying that you should ever put all your money into one stock. You shouldn't. But this tool will help you find what billionaires are buying and give you the best asymmetric risk. It does not look for stocks that have already run like crazy. It doesn't. It doesn't. It is purposely looking for stocks that are actually consolidating or are towards their lows. And this is not to make you rich tomorrow. This is an investment. This is to give you the best fundamentally strong companies and options in the market at any given moment in any given sector, so that you can put your money in that and feel a little bit less stressed knowing that there's a lot of things going for it, right? And that's why you have all these breakdowns on each category, because you can see where the weaknesses and strengths are. So in this case, we don't have any red, which is great. The technicals are strong, and it's doing that because we've broken out of this downtrend. I've actually created this cloud for you guys so you can see when trend reversals are happening too from a technical standpoint. So now we've come out of red, gone green, retested the lows, came right back up, and now the stock's swept a high. So we're actually seeing a reversal right now. What's going to happen next is you're going to see this gap fill up to 367, and then price will probably consolidate up here in the 400s again. And these guys that bought the lows are going to almost double their money. They're going to get about 50 to 60% return from the lows when it gets up there. And I would encourage you guys to actually bookmark this video and check the price of this stock in a couple months and see how that plays out. Obviously, I can't. Obviously I can't say with certainty that it's going to happen, but I'll bet you because I've been doing this for a while. So, am I telling you to go buy this stock? No, I'm not. I'm just giving you a hypothetical here, and I'm showing you all the information that you have. So on top of all the fundamentals and financials and technicals and all that stuff here, which is gibberish to maybe some of you, you also have the news, so you can see what's going on in the news about stock, and click on that, open it, see the news. Cool, sweet, there's an article that was wrote today. You can read through that if you wanted to. I'm not such a big news guy because it's all just noise, to be honest. Earnings is what drives markets. So here's earnings. You also have the earnings by quarter down here. If you click on them, you can see the specifics of that quarter. So similar to TradingView if you've ever used that. And then you have your filings. So you can actually see the quarterly filings. This is something unique to my members area. I've never really seen it. You can actually click and see the quarterly reports for any time, like proxy statement, material event, like annual reports. You can see all this stuff whenever you want. So if I want to see their last report, boom, there it is. Just one click. So that is a thing that in the past, if you find something you like, you have to go and find that stuff yourself. I'm pulling it all in for you. So that's pretty great. And then you can see really quick at a glance, like what's over the last 90 days, if it's been net sells or net buys. So it's saying net sells of over $1 million compared to buys. So if we actually put the insider, let's put the indicators on here, the markers here, and we put insider sells on, it's actually not showing that, so I'm not sure. Fund transformed over trailing 90 days, aggregate net is buys minus sells in US dollars. Yeah, okay, so it's not actually showing the insider sells on the chart in this case. I'll find a different example here in a second. Basically, it's telling you that somebody sold a big chunk recently, but you can see there's 32 people buying and 4 sellers. So that tells you there's a lot of accumulation and buying going on here. So anyways, you can use all these different details and layers. You have all the information you could ever want in one place. And on top of that, you have my investing principles programmed into an application that can actually rate and score stocks and give you my opinion. It's called Nova, but it's really just my investing principles in any stock you want. So yeah, and now that I'm looking at this, the 90 days makes sense because within the last 90 days we were up here, you know, up towards these highs. Yeah, I mean right here, this is where the sell-off started, was in February. It's May. Makes sense. That's why I was saying net sell. So if you actually come back to this stock in another, I don't know, 30 days, this is probably going to look a whole lot different, right? So no one thing in here is going to give you like a, oh my gosh, this is guaranteed. Like, that's not how it works. It's meant to use data-driven analysis to add conviction to investments so that you can put more money to work and reduce the stress in your life and actually build a trade plan on that. So future features that are coming shall actually help you set up a trade plan so you can execute. You shouldn't typically just dump all of your money into a stock at one time. There's a way to do it systematically to reduce your risk. and also make it so you have more liquid capital when the stock's not moving. And so like you might take a position here, you might take another one when it hits the 200 week here, so a retest of the 200 week. This is exactly how I do it. Starting position 25% here, another 25% off the 200 weekly. If that holds, then you're good. Your stop becomes this low down here, and then when you break this high, you add the rest of your position on the breakout. So that sounds weird because you're averaging up, but that adds, you know, the stock has momentum at that point the second it does that, so you're actually adding into that push up so you can make the money a little bit quicker, and it's the same amount of risk, right? You're not really timing the market, but you're trickling your money in at the apparent times. So that way, like that other 50%, if the stock goes sideways for a while, you can put it to work somewhere else, right? So I teach you guys how to do that stuff over in the Discord, which, speaking of the Discord, let's check that out. So I talked about some of the stuff that Nova signaled lately. So here's one that she found. I just showed you guys, EXE. So there's the one that she got for free. And she found that, and I gave my whole thesis on that. And I'll give you one more. AEM is a trade that we actually took, and I'm currently up 13% on AEM. I entered that position 2 days ago. So for anybody that's wondering, AEM is gold miner. Gold got created. I told you guys the top end was in for silver not too long ago, a few months back. People said I was crazy. 2 days later, tanked, had the biggest fall in history. How'd I do that? Tools like this, man. I mean, I'm a software engineer. I have a very analytical mind. I've been studying markets for years, and all of that kind of blends together to give me a unique edge. And I'm trying to share that with you guys. And my members here will speak to the value. We can just go check out the gains and losses area real quick and see like what's going on recently. So here's Rollin with a nice 10% up move on UNH. That's not too exciting. Let's find something else. All right, Oscar 54%, and this is when Oscar was at $19. Today it's at $22, so he's up more like 80% on that at this point. Here's Drew. I called out AMD when it was down at like $77. He was actually late to the party. Got in like after it had already doubled once. I told him fundamentals still looked good. Just hopping on a pullback. He did so. Here we are. AMD is literally at like $400 and something a share. When he took the screenshot, it was at $393. So today he's up $12,000 on a $4,000 or $5,000 investment inside of a year. Again, like past results are not indicative of future results, okay? And I can't promise any sort of returns. But the point is, Drew knew to take that risk because all of the layers of confluence that came in to AMD at that time, right? Like we had so many things building conviction in that he was willing to put some money to work, and look what it did for him. That's the point, right? That's what I try to do for people, is help spot opportunities and show you how to measure your risk and take, calculated, systematic approach to your investing that's not going to leave you underwater if you're wrong. So we do have losses, like anybody has losses, right? But those losses are predefined. So if you go into stock, you already know exactly what you're going to lose if you lose. And I try to make sure that people understand how to do that. And the getting started part of the Discord here, very first video, walks you through how the swing trading works. And we do way more than swing trading. We got everything in here: stock picks, long term, buy the dip, swing trades, longer trades, education, set and forget portfolios for those of you that want to be passive. We have the ETF momentum and the stock picks portfolio, which you can literally just copy. There's a systematic approach to the markets that I've put together over years. Time-weighted return of stock picks at this point. Let's go back to the members area so you guys have access to this here in the members area as well. I'm trying to go really quick here. Sorry, guys. Time-weighted return is 14.9%, 14.19% in the last 6 months since inception. So most people get 10% a year. That's pretty good. We're actually beating the market so far. And you can look at these against SPY if you want. The ETF momentum portfolio, since I started it, as time-weighted return 14.19%, 25% annualized is what it's on track for. Meaning by the end of the year in December, we're on pace to do about 25%. Obviously, that's not a law. That doesn't have to happen. You shouldn't expect a certain outcome, but you can see this portfolio is doing really well. We have one position that's up 62%, et cetera, and so on. So the way this works is these are all rotated once a month. So this is updated once a month. You go in, you match it, and you just set and forget, right? Again, not financial advice, just what I'm doing, my positions, and you as a human have the right to follow along if you'd like to. I'm not telling you what to buy or sell. Here's stock picks. You can see MRAM. We bought this May 4th. It is currently May 11th, and we are up 132% on that position. So I put $500 into MRAM last week, and it is currently worth $1,280. So this is a portfolio that every single week I do research on a stock for you guys. I write an entire thesis on it, why I'm bullish on it, why I think it's a good investment, and then we put $500 in. This is what I do. You could do $10, whatever, right? But again, you can see how this has performed over time. There is some losers, of course. There's going to be when you're picking a new stock every week. But we have one that's doing real bad, cannabis sector, not surprising there. And then we got this one that's down 16%, 19%, 23%. So on $500, not a big deal. So that's higher than that because over time, when we sell out of positions, we move that capital across all the holdings that we have. So then we look here, 130%, 45%, 54%, 23%, 26%, 20%, 13%, 32%, 100%, 40%, 13%, 40%, I mean on and on and on. We got Planet Labs down here is up 314%. So these portfolios have proven to be very effective, and they're based on the same type of things that I built Nova on top of. Okay, so you could just blindly follow those portfolios if you're not somebody that wants to be active in your investing, but you also have all the tools here to help you make sound, solid decisions in the markets. So we can head back over to the heat maps here, go to 1 month, and you can see tech has absolutely been flying. Do you think you should buy tech right now? Probably not. Probably not. You could trade it, but should you invest in stuff when it's at all-time highs? I wouldn't personally, right? So anyways, you have all these different tools. You can see the themes that are doing well right now and picking up momentum. So energy seems to be gaining today. And yeah, it was actually a top performing sector. Imagine that. I just gave you guys an energy stock at the beginning. Almost like I know what I'm doing. So, yep, that's pretty much all the tools you have here in the members area, and I'm continuing to build these out and flesh these out for you guys as I get feedback from my members that already using these tools myself to find opportunities. Of course, I use and leverage the desktop app because I have full control over the code here, and it's a local sandbox for myself, so this is kind of where I experiment and make the tool better, and then as I refine the tools, I deliver them to the members. And there's nothing like this on the internet. There's not a single tool that I am aware of that takes smart money confluence, quality, and value into one big cumulative score on top of technicals and all that stuff. Again, technicals, fundamentals, valuation, track record, support, fund quality if it's a fund, catalyst if earnings is coming up, options flow, insiders, Congress, 13S, which are your billionaires, and then momentum is a small weighting in there because momentum is important if you want to make money relatively shorter term. Not day trading, we're not talking about, but like over months versus over years. Momentum can be a key indicator there. And then the macro picture, right? And it takes all this and finds you opportunities, and you have all sorts of stuff, insider accumulation, congressional buys, billion, so you can literally just see what Congress is buying if you want, right? So I'll take you back over to the members area. This is getting kind of a lengthy video. I was like, I'm going to try and make this 5 minutes. That's not 5 minutes. We can go back and we can see what Congress is buying. I'm actually going to use a screener to do this, so we'll go. Let's actually do insiders because I personally I like when a company is buying its own stock. When I see the CEO buying a lot of the stock, that gives me I want to look at that, right? And then let's look at energy again because EXE pops up again. But let's take a look at another one that's scoring well. Maybe MTDR here, and you can kind of see how this works, right? So I'm looking at energy stocks right now because I think that's likely the next area it's going to be rotated into. And again, I teach how you can figure that out. And then I do a scan against it. I find a stock that's scoring pretty decent. And we come in here and we can see. So in this case, you're a little late, to be honest, because all the buying was happening down here at the lows. That's what it's flagging because it's looking at the last 90 days. So it's still important to look, right? But she's saying there was a lot of accumulation. And you can see that if you were to match the smart money, you were buy here, and you were to buy here, where most of the insiders were buying. I mean, brother, the stock was $37 there, and today it's $60. You made 100% on your money. So if you put $5,000 in there in November, you have $10,000 today. It's pretty amazing what can happen when you just follow the rich people. and I'm giving you a tool that lets you do it. So hopefully that makes sense. I appreciate your time. I know this video was a little lengthy, but I wanted to I'm trying to demonstrate what you can do. And I understand this isn't a tool for everybody, but I want to provide value for everybody, and that's where I really think this shines. And then also the Nova Fund, which is a new concept. Nova actually goes out and picks and populates her own portfolio, and we measure it against the S&P 500 over time. This was just started, so we have no data really to go off of yet. Still very much in a trial period, which is why I wasn't really advertising it here, but over time I will bet you that she does pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if she beats me, because there's no emotion attached to her trading. She is doing it clear, like just straight on the fundamentals that I teach and focus on for my group. So, and there's full transparency in here, so you can see what she holds. You can get a write-up on why she picked what she picked, and then you can actually go look at the ledger and get the receipts for the dates and how much was bought and why it was bought. So everything you would need to know, and that is fully AI investing, but it's really AI reasoning on top of my principal investing values, which is what creates this unique tool that does not exist on the internet. For any of you that don't know, I'll quickly go through this. I spent a few years after COVID trying to really understand the markets, because I saw the wealth transfer that happened during COVID, and I was like, I have got to learn this game. And the first year I just lost money. I think I lost $16,000. I was trying to gamble with options and trying to do it quick, like everybody goes through, because they want that fast money. I was a dumb kid. Okay, and then after a year of that, I got a little bit better. I started to learn this and that and put things together and understand how the markets work and how rotation works and stuff like that. But I was still kind of like way too exposed to options trading and trying to do things fast. And I still took a loss. I think I was down like $8,000 my second year. Now, at the same time, though, I was investing money into stocks, and I was buying NVIDIA back then. So anybody that knows what's happened with NVIDIA, that was a pretty life-changing decision. Full disclosure, that was pretty lucky. I really didn't know much. I knew computing. I understood technology, and I knew NVIDIA had a 20-year gap on everybody in that, and I was investing solely on that. And in terms of the stock market, I didn't really know like valuations and things like that. So the first 2 years that I was investing in NVIDIA, I was down, but now today is one of the most lucrative decisions I ever made in my life. Anyways, fast forward to year 3, this is when I really sat down and was like, I'm going to erase what I know, and I'm going to learn how these markets work, how rotation works. And I found a mentor, and it really helped me a lot, and it completely changed everything. I put together my own strategies, my own thesis. I started recording everything, journaling everything, diarying everything, so that I would know where I made mistakes and learn from them over time. And then suddenly, by year 4, very, very consistent, very profitable. I actually had a really great year that was so good in my 4th year that I erased the years prior. And then the 5th year, I started to put these strategies into portfolios, and I started to outperform the market, right? And then year 6, which was last year, I believe. So this was actually pre-COVID, I guess, because it's been 6 or 7 years now. So I guess my wake-up call came a little before COVID, but COVID was like really what made me want to chase it. That's what I'm getting at, I guess, and take it more serious, which makes sense. Yeah, that does line up, because that's the year that I really started to do better. It's because I was getting serious about it. Anyways, semantics. So by year 6, I actually had like full written strategies that I was following to take my emotions out of the market and only buy things here and only sell things here, and just stick to a very disciplined, regimented execution strategy that was not controlled by my emotions. And lo and behold, the performance that year was like 700%. It was mind-blowing. I would have never expected that. And then last year, I put the whole thing, I documented the whole thing when I started the Discord. I started a $6,700 account, taxable account on Robinhood. I put it on YouTube. You can go check in early 2025. And today, that account is sitting, we're too far back here. Yeah, this is last week. Okay, so it's a little bit higher now, but so this is the month, $33,000 in a month, but that is the same account that has $6,700 in it. Did I add money to it over time? 100%, and I teach you guys to do that. That is the power of compounding. but it was also based on rotation, and it was largely done through trading. Almost actually all of that was done through trading, not in investing. But it's not day trading. It's not like you're swinging momentum-based growth names that are quality companies, so it is still a form of investment, but you're getting the juice of that move and then pulling your money and putting it in the next thing that's going to move, right? So rather than just staying invested in one name forever, you're pulling it after it gets its momentum, after it's given you a lot, and then you're looking for that next thing, okay? And then inevitably that thing you were in will cool off, then the other thing runs, and then later you'll get a chance to rotate back into it. So you're still investing in quality names over the long term, but you're trying to take advantage of what's moving to keep your account moving. And it also reduces your exposure risk over time, which actually creates a safer investing strategy over time. And it's hard to explain that in a quick video here, but the results speak for themselves. There's literally pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of people here, and I can make a whole video on that for anybody that wants to see it. But yeah, and I do lots of education, tell people what's about to happen and why, at least my thesis. I obviously don't have a crystal ball. Here's Cody. Looks like he did 33% on an option one day on that day. Here's another one, 50%. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And anyways, I made my point. I would love to have you guys over. If you're not ready to commit yet, I do offer a free newsletter that you get once a week. I'll show that real quick. My messy email here. Sorry, just ignore all that. Alright, so here's an example of the newsletter you get that came out this week. So it's got a little bit of an education section, so that's the why quality matters more than volatility strikes. And then there's a free stock pick for you with a Nova analysis on it every week, so one free one for anybody that wants to sign up. Newsletter is available on leavingthematrix.io. And then you have a macro snapshot, tells you the current economic and market structure picture, and then what the smart money is doing with that name. And then, yeah, if you feel like you're getting a lot of value out of those letters, you have the option to come join us. So check out the website. If this is something you're interested in, you want to know more about it, feel free to message me, ask me questions. Always available. I'm really just trying to help people grow. I mean, I started this, I had 20 people messaging me in a Facebook group, and then it escalated very quickly, and then all of a sudden I had a Discord with 90 people in it, and then the results were just astonishing for like the first 5-6 months when it was honestly a little bit by chance. The market was really, really strong right when I started the Discord, but I also told people when it wasn't. And I think that's what really matters, is I protected people from that loss that would have happened, and showed people how I saw it, showed people what I was seeing in the markets. I predicted the drop from January to April almost to the day, and there's a track record of that on Facebook. You can go look at my Facebook wall for the last 2 years and then look at the charts and see how often I was right. And I'm not saying that to boast. I'm saying that I've put the time and work in to understand how to read market structure and understand what's going on behind the tape, so you can actually take advantage of that and have an edge over, dollar cost averaging or just sticking your money blindly in an ETF or a stock. And there's nothing, like, don't get me wrong, compounding wealth and true wealth building comes from long-term investing. You got to stop just selling stocks at some point if you want to make money in the long term. But this trading stuff, the way that we do it, surpluses that investing so much so that you can invest more into those aggressively, right? So 10% on $1,000 is $100, but if you're able to swing trade and make $5,000 extra in a year and you can invest all that, well, all of a sudden that $100 you make becomes $600, and then that compounding effect over time, it really starts to stack. So the two in tandem with asymmetric risk, predefined risk, it can change your life, and it's changed mine, and it's changed several of my members, and I hope that I can help you change yours. See ya. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you have any questions, reach out. Thank you.